invariably most people will release an album and out it goes into the ether. And you don't get a context around what the album was about. This whole process has taken us a fair amount of time. 2019 in August, we went into the studio. What are we in now? 2024. And through hold-ups and COVID, but also availability. We'd only just met briefly. We'd met in 2018 at Jack Dusty's, and it was just a small conversation. But we quickly found out that we had a lot of commonality around our approach to music, our love for it.
Yeah, It's All About Love was on my T-shirt. And I just thought that was really... And all the songs that were chosen, we were looking at doing, they were about love, sort of...
Love lost, love gained.
Yeah, love in some context.
It's from a small beginning, from an assignment at Toi Ohomai when I was studying for music diploma and music and sound production. I found some things in there for myself, like it wasn't so much about the playing for me, it was when that portion of the curriculum came out, I thought, oh, I like that, because I've always loved production. I've always loved arranging. I'd worked on material of my own. I'd worked on material with other bands, going back into the 80s even.
People, of course, they do the recording, and naturally they were doing their own recordings. So for David to actually say to me I could have his recording time was like, whoa, I was absolutely taken aback by that. It was just an amazing generosity for David to give me that, when in fact he's written heaps of songs himself and could have easily used that time for his own recordings.
And when I was 17 years of age, I wrote a list of all the amazing producers. Michael Lloyd, Michael Omarian, Omar they call him. He did all the Crystal Cross stuff. And I'd listened intently to their body of work for many years, and I'd studied all the session musicians and how they approached the music. And I knew the best way to do it is just to get out of the way of them. Let them do their thing. Give them a simple guideline of what you're wanting to hear, the feel of what you're wanting, and just let them cut loose. You can't dictate to these people how to play, because they've been playing for a long, long time. So we basically approached Rima Barlow to play drums, and Trevor Bronius and Dave Henderson. Dave Henderson was someone that we mutually knew. He played upright bass on the whole entire project. He's a solid bass player. A solid dude, real cool kind of energy, easy to be around, And this whole industry is around, being a cool person is a good thing, It's not necessarily what your chops are like, where you're at, playing-wise. You just wanted people to come in and just relax and just be who they were and bring that energy. So I went about assembling all these players, and we went into the studio. And Trevor Bronius, he charted the songs. So, he absolutely was 100%. We did 4 songs. I was given a 4-song limit. And so we went in and did 4 songs. Took those back to the studio, and the studio says, hey man, that's quite cool. We quite like that. Maybe you want to do an extra 4 songs. Like now we're talking a mini album. Right, okay, so let's do that. We went about finding the extra 4 songs, and again, Trevor came through with the charts. We did the basic tracking live. The drums, the bass, and the guitar were done in the studio live. When you work with studio musicians like that, they come in and maybe we could put this little introduction in, or a little intro in here, well, that will fit, and what do you think, kind of thing, and it was a lot like that. And then we'd do a rundown, maybe 2 rundowns, good to go on the green, push the red light, we're recording now, 1 take, whoa, and just like, there it is, there's the 1 take, well, what do you think, Dave? And I thought, oh man, how can you add to that? That's just solid, that's a great foundation to work off. And so we had that core nucleus down of those 3 instruments. And then Ben Wilcock, he was a keyboard tutor at Toi Ohomai. Damien introduced me to him, And he and I talked about the tracks I was going to record, and he just agreed to play. He says, yeah, man, I'll come along and play. And I asked him, you know, like The Look of Love, for example. There's a Fender Rhodes in there. That song was recorded in '67. It never had a Rhodes, and yet that instrument was prevalent in that time. But it was never on anything I heard on YouTube or Spotify or anything. No one had a Rhodes. I thought, you ought to put a Rhodes on there. What do you think, Ben? And he goes, yeah, man, that'll work. And I remember saying to him, listen, I don't want to piss anyone off in the jazz world, you know. He goes, oh, no, bugger, you know, isn't there rules, man? You know, just do what you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, you know, cool. So, you know, that inspiration helped me. But when I said, you know, I'd like the Rhodes, well, he brought his actual Rhodes to the studio, and I helped him lug it into the studio, and we mic'd it all up from the heavy things. We mic'd it all up, and away he went. And again, one take, that instrument makes that song, because it just gives a nice bearded platform to it, and then they just grow off it. You know, the skill of Ben Wilcock to play piano. I said to him, when you do the Rhodes, man, just give me a nice bass, a nice cushion with a few cascades up and you know, cascades down, and then when you put the piano over the top, honeydew it, just honeydew it, man. And he just, like, one take. We were doing one track, what was that track? I think it was your song. And I went into the studio because, you know, he was in there and he was playing it. It's an original, he hasn't heard it before. So he's sitting there and he's got, you know, skeletal charts of the chords, you know. And he's sitting there and I opened up the door and I went, Ben, take me to a smoky bar in Chicago somewhere, man. That's where I want to be when I listen to this song. It was that kind of, you know, that kind of thing. And he just like, let rip, you know, and he just pulled the energy up and tore into it. And I just thought, that's the take. Jill, she wasn't there for the keyboard session. She came in just as he was finishing. I said, would you like to have a listen? She said, yeah. And I pushed the play button and it came over the air, and we were like, and I remember looking at her and she was crying.
It was just so beautiful.
And I thought, as a producer, what validation do you want from the people you're working with and working for? Then it came time for the percussion. Now, Jill and Damien Lunson, who I'll mention in a little moment, they were hammering me to play on the project. Oh, well, man, it's your project. You should be playing on it. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to play on it, because you can't hear when you're doing it. You can, but you can't. You know what I mean? But you need to be removed from it so you can hear what's coming. I had always had this kind of like, always wanted to work with the LA session players because I knew them all. You know, well before YouTube came out, I used to read everything. You know, Modern Drummer magazine, you know, all that stuff. I was reading about the great session players and the percussionists and all that. And so I just grew some courage one day and thought, you know what, I'll just reach out. And I had a bit of intermittent contact with Luis Conte. In 2017, he toured here with James Taylor. I approached him and I told him what the album was. I told him what the concept was, who was involved, and all of that. And at the time, he had just come off the road with James Taylor, and he was about to do some recording for Jackson Browne, I think it was, and he was like, oh yeah, I've got this kind of gap here, send me the tracks. You know, I'd be listening to what he was sending me, and I was like, I can't believe I've got this guy playing on it. You know, if people knew who this cat was, man, you know, like, when you look at his discography, you know, Celine Dion, Ray Charles, Tina Turner, Phil Collins, the list just goes on. I toured with Toto. He just said to me, look, I'll play on it. He agreed to play on it. He says, just send it to me. Because I told him what it was and what we wanted to do with any funds that came from the project. We wanted to grow the next platform of musicians. We wanted the platform of musicians coming through. Yeah, well, you know, it's like when you're young, man, you know, you're plugging everything into the 1AM because you can't afford things because you're so broke ass, you know, and we're just like, nah, man, we want to be able to give to the next generation and give them an opportunity. And he just said, send me the tracks. And we sent them to him. He sent them back. And I remember he wrote to me and he said to me, who's that piano player? You know, and for me it was like, wow, this is a guy that's played on films, he's played behind it. Diana Krall, The Look of Love, he played percussion on that whole album. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, and he is talking about Ben, who lives in Rotorua, you know. You know, this could be an amazing moment for Ben. I just saw connection, you know. He just said to me, you know, that's incredible playing. And he wrote to us, he wrote to me and he just said, I've loved playing on this entire project. It's just incredible to be a part of, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Now I'm going to talk about Damien Lunson. I need to talk about Damien. Damien Lunson is a tutor at Toyohomai, but he's more than that. Damien is a connector. He knows a lot of people in the music world. He's got good ears, he's got talent, he can spot talent a mile away.
It was just going to be a little school project, and I thought, yeah, I can do that. And then David said, and you'll end up with a recording that you can share with your children. I thought, yep, no, that felt absolutely fine. When David suggested it, there was 2 criteria. He said he wanted to do The Look of Love and he wanted one of my originals. Okay, so I agreed to that. And then when all these amazing musicians started coming out of the wood, I was absolutely freaked out. So I thought, no, I don't deserve all this, and that's way out of my depth. So I looked on Google, hypnotherapists in Tauranga, and went along and saw a hypnotherapist to get calmed down with it all. I thought, oh my God, because I was totally intimidated by the whole situation. And that did actually help, and she was absolutely lovely. But yeah, that had that much effect on me. And Luis Conte, the one song that I'd written that's on it, he actually ends up doing the percussion on my original. I thought, how on earth did this happen?
And we joke, you know, like, can you imagine, Jill? Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion, Ray Charles, Jill Leighton.
Like,
you know?
who the hell's Jill?
You know,
it didn't make any sense, the whole thing, and being squeezed in after a James Taylor concert. I'll deal with you.
I'll deal with you later.
My 12-bar blues song. You know, it's like none of it made any sense. That's why we thought it was quite funny to talk about how from this very humble beginnings of a school project, a Toyohomai project, it just gathered momentum, yeah. I wrote it through a sort of a challenging time. It was about looking at your situation, then deciding you actually need to take another path. And it's called You Get What You Ask For in Life, Babe. What you give out, you give back. And it was sort of based on that, and that I needed to go down another track. How would you describe it?
It's a song that drives. It's got a real driven kind of layer underneath it. You know, it just drives. It's that kind of song. We wanted to balance the whole album out with, you know, a couple of ballads here and some songs that kick some ass, you know. Yeah, because sometimes you listen to an album and they all sound the same. You know, it's all ballads or it's all rock. And where's the point of difference, man? You got to have a point of difference in your work, and we wanted to. Well, I knew I wanted to capture something like that. I remember saying to Luis Conte, I said it to Trevor, I said it to Rimmer, just bring who you are to Dave, to Jeff Baker, you know, to these great players. Bring who you are to the session, you know. I'm not going to tell you how to do, you know. Just bring who you are. And you know, there's some spooky stuff that they play on there, man. You know, when you listen to it carefully and you've got the cans on and you can hear what they're doing, you're just like Jeff Baker, when he's playing Night and Day, just all it's spooky little percussion-y stuff he's playing, as he's playing, you know, locking down the beat on the drum kit. Rimmer Barlow, same thing, when he's on the drum kit. Solid as, you know, there's no variance, you know. Dave Henderson on the bass, you know. Ben Wilcock on the keys, you're just like, whoa.
So all this is going on, and then say, okay, you go in the booth and sing, and I'm going, oh my God. It was, yeah.
Your stuff was one take. Yeah.
But it was, yeah, it was scary, but probably the most exhilarating thing I've done, and probably ever will do, I think, yeah. Jill
was very easy to work with. We did a song called My Baby, And you know, the song, if you look at the lyrics, the song leads to smugness. You know, it's my baby don't care for shows. I said to Jill, just sing it with a whole bunch of smugness, man, as if you're like, you know, bring a little bit of edge and a bit of attitude to it. And she did, you know, and in one take. It just was, it all happened. It was a magic take. The playing, the singing, slap that together, this is a magic take. One take, the whole lot. The whole thing is just let the music win. Let the music win, and you know, bring the shine, man. You know, bring that to the session. And our hope is that people will hear the magic. You know, they'll feel good. You know, music is what you feel, right? And how do you feel when you listen to that?
I mean, when you've got that calibre of people coming together, and it was a lot of fun moments, and because they're so confident and they can do it so easily. It was a nice light atmosphere in the studio, and it was lovely. Yeah, just so all a bit surreal, the whole thing. Yeah. And even now when I hear it, I'm still blown away by the musicianship. Every time I hear them playing, it's like, oh my God.
How do I think that Jill did? She did really well. You know, and considering the atmosphere, you know, considering the microscopic world of the studio, going in there in a live situation with all the cats, they're all sitting there waiting for you to drop your vocal part, you know, and she delivered, man. You know, like that whole, like I said, you know, my baby, give me some smug. You know, I want to hear that. Or the look of love, you know, that song is it requires a sensual kind of a vocal. You know, I need that. You know, give that to me. You know, nah, or yeah, that was cool.
Mostly when I'm listening to it, I just keep thinking how incredibly lucky I was to be able to be part of that production. It helped tremendously because I was already working with Trevor, and we'd done all these songs, and I'd perform them with him. He laid the foundation for the songs, and when we were looking through it, he chose one, so they got different rhythms and things, and yeah, it gave me a huge feeling of security, knowing that he was there guiding it, and we'd played the songs before. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have coped otherwise. Yeah.
He's the godfather of music in this town. I consider him the godfather. You know, I went to his shop yesterday. I wrote an original song, man. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a nice chord, but I didn't even know what the chord was. So I went down the shop and said, Trevor, what's this chord? And the song I wrote, like, really? You know, like, and just go, oh, that's a B minor 7, you know, like, oh, that's a B minor 11 over an A, you know, he just, you know, but such is his heart.
He helps everybody.
You know, such is his heart. And that's the thing about this whole project. All of those guys, you know, you'd
oh, totally,
confirm
yeah.
that all of those guys are just beautiful to work
And
with.
go out of their way to help everybody.
You know, I'm down the shop. What's this called, Trevor? I know I wrote the song, but I don't even know what this called is. I just love the sound, you know. Would you get me to produce again?
Of course I would.
No. Our hope is that people will enjoy what they listen to, you know, and what they hear, what they feel from the music. The music, we want the music to touch people's lives, man. You know, as it has ours, in doing so and putting it out there. So, yeah, that's got to be a good thing.